Hi, my name is Alexis Glemser, and I am joined by James Painter, Jason McKewen, and Joshua Seago. We'll be covering the pharmaceutical mammoth McKesson for our strategic analysis of a Fortune 500 corporation, part of the Spring 2018 Global Strategic Management course. McKesson is the oldest and largest healthcare company in the nation, serving more than 50% of U.S. hospitals and 20% of physicians. It delivers 1/3 of all medications used daily in North America, with operations in more than 16 countries. The company has been around for almost 200 years, founded in 1833 as a therapeutic drugs and chemical wholesaler in New York City. The company has grown to be a top player in the healthcare industry, ranked number 5 on Fortune's annual list. Now headquartered in San Francisco, it employs more than 76,000 people. It considers its businesses to fall into either distribution or technology solutions, and its main competitors are AmerisourceBergen Corporation and Cardinal Health Incorporated. Short of placing and employing healthcare practitioners themselves, McKesson has representation in most areas of the healthcare sector. Working under the mission statement, together with our customers and partners, we are creating a sustainable future for healthcare. Together, we are charting a course to better health. The company has grown and diversified from a wholesale drugs and chemicals supplier to a holistic partner for healthcare providers across the industry. McKesson has grown to be the healthcare giant it is by executing multiple corporate and business level strategies over its nearly 2 centuries in business. The company saw early success through supply and distribution agreements, becoming the leading distributor of pharmaceutical products by 1900. It grew its business further with mergers like Foremost Diaries and acquisitions like HBO and Company. But it most notably has grown to be the holistic partner it is today through diversification moves to enter into medical surgical supplies, specialty healthcare, and information technology solutions. This infographic from McKesson does a good job to show how it affects the 4 major segments of healthcare on a daily basis. In 1 minute, McKesson can impact providers, manufacturers, pharmacies, and health systems simultaneously. These 4 examples listed describe tangible examples of McKesson's benefits. In the example at the top left about helping providers, a hospital uses McKesson Financial Solutions to show an anxious grandmother what she'll pay for a knee replacement before she schedules the surgery. In the top right, a pharmacist reminds a diabetes patient to take his medication because a system McKesson developed with manufacturers triggered an adherence consultation. In the bottom left, a father uses McKesson's mobile app to refill his son's asthma medication so he can pick it up at his local pharmacy on the way home. And finally, the one in the bottom right shows how McKesson benefits health systems of all sizes by showing an accident victim avoiding daily visits to the clinic for wound care supplies because they can be delivered directly to her house. Jumping back out to discuss McKesson at a corporate level, it's a category leader in multiple areas of financial measure, including return on assets, return on investment, free cash flow to sales percentage, net profit margin, and operating margin. It's able to achieve this through significant competitive advantages, the first being oligopoly power. Together with Cardinal Health and AmerisourceBergen, McKesson and its competitors control 90% of the U.S. pharmaceuticals distribution market. To put it another way, McKesson delivers 1/3 of all medications used daily in North America. In addition to that, the company benefits from efficiencies of scale. The company's huge distribution network has enabled it to achieve a 99.98% order accuracy across North America and 99.9% inventory accuracy across international distribution and services. McKesson Corporation's huge distribution network also creates a barrier to entry, as the major costs in capital, time, and energy to replicate this infrastructure are simply too great for others. Furthermore, its intangible assets provide advantages. It owns a large portfolio of patents, including nearly 50 U.S. protected ones, which are extremely valuable as they create barriers to entry, preventing competitors from mounting a challenge with competing products. And finally, it benefits from economies of scale. It is one of the big 3 in the pharmaceuticals distribution oligopoly, and it eclipses its rivals in terms of revenue. It currently generates 1.5 times the revenue of its closest rival, Cardinal Health. As the industry's largest and most experienced distributor, McKesson leverages long-standing relationships across the continuum of care to bring a unique, holistic perspective to partnerships with manufacturers. They help their customers succeed with support from their sophisticated distribution infrastructure that delivers pharmaceuticals securely and efficiently, and value-added commercial services that provide effective solutions. It is for this reason that McKesson has a sustained competitive advantage over its competition. Healthcare has tremendous long-term growth potential. Current life expectancy in the U.S. is approximately 80 years, with projections that people being born now will live on average to 100. As people age, they consume more healthcare resources, including medications, making pharmaceutical distribution, an opportunity that others must seriously consider, or may seriously consider. It's just simply too big a market to pass up. It should be no surprise then that in May of last year, that of 2017, it was reported that Amazon was hiring a business head to develop a strategy for the company to break into the multi-billion-dollar pharmaceutical market. While Amazon recently put the move on hold, it remains a possibility at some point. And with its extensive logistical network, highly refined e-commerce technology, and large, loyal network of customers, Amazon is a competitive threat to be taken seriously by McKesson and its competition. It should be noted that entering into the healthcare industry from the outside is no small venture. Research, development, and patent costs are high. Drug distribution encompasses a lot of regulatory red tape that can be difficult to navigate. And physician authorizations, prescription specifics, and insurance reimbursements and deductibles are all new hurdles for someone like Amazon to understand and conform to. All this considered, Amazon has the capital and connections to hire experts to consult and solve for the issues listed above, so that mainly leaves time on McKesson's side. Time to plan, time to hopefully get ahead enough that they can remain ahead when Amazon is able to jump into the healthcare sector. In order to understand what threat Amazon seriously poses and how McKesson can best react, we need to take stock of environmental threats as a whole. For many years, McKesson has been operating in an environment that has allowed the company to flourish. The threat of entry has been low. McKesson's proprietary technology, established relationships, and economies of scale are so great that very few, if any, entrants pose a threat to their business areas. The threat of rivalry is moderate, with retail giants like Amazon eyeing healthcare. Traditional mammoths like McKesson may have a new challenge to battle, like well-established tech companies with superior logistics and sourcing capabilities. The threat of substitutes is moderate. McKesson has two highly developed competitors, AmerisourceBergen and Cardinal Health, that could likely provide a similar business to McKesson customers if they opted to look elsewhere. The threat of suppliers is low. McKesson's size and breadth across the healthcare industry allows them major bargaining power with suppliers. There would be very few, if any, that could exert enough power over McKesson to threaten it. And the threat of buyers is moderate. With so few major players in the supplier role for healthcare institutions, the threat of buyers is relatively low. However, with non-traditional giants like Amazon potentially joining the pool, buyers may have more choices and therefore more power to be a threat. Lastly, McKesson benefits from the sixth force of complementers. Drug R&D companies like Pfizer, Merck & Company, Bristol Myers Squibb are complementers to McKesson and vice versa.
Amazon, the huge tech giant known mostly for its online retail presence, along with Berkshire Hathaway and JP Chase, partnered up to say they're going to launch a new independent company aimed at reining in healthcare costs, one of the big challenges facing employers and the country. So there's a ton of excitement about this because this is seen as an area ripe for disruption, but no one knows what is going to happen yet. There have been few details so far, just that these companies with all of the expertise they bring in different areas, Amazon with its laser focus on customers, service, and supply chains, a lot of financial backing, and just a lot of attention. But you know, what they're going to do to solve a problem that's been looming for years is as yet unclear. It's made a lot of other companies really nervous, though. So the stock market reacted with major insurers' stocks going down because, you know, maybe this is going to be a threat. But at this point, people are kind of throwing spaghetti at a wall. Like, no one knows what they're going to do. They could make a health insurance company. Could they disrupt the drug business? It's very, very unclear. This isn't a new idea. Big employers have banded together to try and rein in healthcare costs before. The excitement's more about the kinds of new technology tools that a company like Amazon could bring. The time is right for something to happen in healthcare, Amazon brings a lot of different skills and power into the whole equation. We don't know what the mission of the company is except to rein in healthcare costs. We don't know how it would work, whether it will target one part of the healthcare system or another. There's a lot of hope that Amazon, which has been so good at bringing the online shopping experience, simplifying things to consumers, could do that to healthcare, which is so complicated and so hard to understand and so expensive.
Although the whisper of Amazon venturing into healthcare is enough to get investors selling stocks and industry media in a tizzy, strategic leaders at McKesson must first decipher what the changing environmental threats are, and more importantly, how they can become opportunities. So first, what environmental factors can Amazon exploit? Well, logistical resources are not a barrier to entry for Amazon. They have a robust distribution network that serves as a major benefit to their ability to break into this sector. And Amazon would be a unique substitute for businesses of McKesson and its competition. With its thought leadership in so many other areas, Amazon stands to be an attractive, holistic partner to those health businesses willing to be a first adopter. On the flip side, what opportunities exist for McKesson to neutralize these threats? McKesson and its existing competition operate in a mature industry, one where there are many experienced repeat customers and a slowing introduction of new products and services. So its opportunities lie in product refinement, investment in service quality, and process innovation. Healthcare industry analysts expect services product solutions to become a leading way to achieve competitive advantage in healthcare, and for cloud operations to emerge as a core platform as healthcare stakeholders demand more cost efficiency. So McKesson stands to move ahead, focusing in areas such as these, and some of the recent moves show focus in doing that. Recently, the company announced the launch of HealthMart Atlas, the largest network of high-performing community pharmacies dedicated to delivering quality care with a personal touch. This venture shows the company's continued commitment to service quality. And McKesson's newly introduced Express Coverage speaks to its focus on process innovation. This new patient support platform leverages the expertise of Cover My Meds and the broad spectrum of high-touch McKesson services to help physicians and patients better navigate the complicated specialty therapy journey. The goal of Express Coverage is to help patients benefit from a seamless support system that improves access to medication and reduces prescription abandonment. And finally, product refinement stays top of mind for the company too. McKesson Prescription Technology Solutions business announced RX Benefit Clarity, a support solution that can provide precise prescription benefit and prior authorization information across all payers at the point of prescribing. RX Benefit Clarity can now deliver the most accurate patient pay and real-time benefit information in the prescribing workflow today.
Hello, my name is Josh Seago, and I will be covering chapters 9 through 12. Chapter 9 covers collusion and collusive strategies. Collusion, or a collusive strategy, is defined in the text as when several firms in an industry cooperate to reduce industry competitiveness and raise prices above fully competitive level. There are two different collusive strategies that companies in an industry can use, and they are explicit and tacit collusion. Explicit collusion is the direct communication of pricing and production output, while tacit collusion is when firms observe each other's output and pricing and coordinate their decisions accordingly without direct communication. Explicit collusion is illegal, while tacit collusion is accepted. In 2017, McKesson was incriminated in an investigation by 45 states for offering incentives to generic pharmaceutical companies to raise their prices. According to the complaint made by the states, the incentives allow McKesson to benefit when prices are higher, since the drug manufacturers include an inflation-based compensation component, whereby they benefit when the manufacturers increase their prices as they sell out existing inventory at the new higher prices. McKesson states that a reduction in the magnitude of drug price increases could decrease their gross margins. The allegations are all based on the fact that since the end user absorbs the price increases and the users need the drugs, there is no real incentive for generic drug manufacturers to be competitive. Though this collusive strategy to manipulate prices may not be found to be illegal, it is interesting how one entity of an industry can drive another to engage in explicit collusion for cooperative gain. Another collusion allegation in 2017 that McKesson was caught up in has to do with possible collusion with politicians to allow opioids to continue to be distributed into communities in very large quantities. A former DEA official states that a change in the wording of a law makes it all but logically impossible to freeze a drug shipment from a distributor. The largest contributor to the new verbiage in the law was Miss D. Lyndon Barber, who is now working for the drug companies. This has huge negative implications for McKesson, as it could be seen that their company has knowingly assisted in the opioid epidemic that is killing people. Chapter 10 speaks about vertical integration strategy. McKesson's corporate strategy is forward vertical integration. They continue to engage in value chains through acquisitions, especially with a focus on technology companies. They acquired 75% of Seago, a German healthcare and pharmaceutical company that was renamed McKesson Europe, as well as 1,800 Lloyds, which are pharmacy retail stores in Europe. They operate retail pharmacies in Canada as well. They also acquire and merge with companies for which they are typically a middleman in order to engage more of their value chain. Taking a look at some of McKesson's business units helps to see how much of the value chain that they are engaged. The U.S. Pharmaceutical Unit provides for delivery of pharmaceuticals to over 40,000 customers, including retail chains, independent retail pharmacies, hospitals, health systems, integrated delivery networks, and long-term care providers with supply chain technology, marketing programs, managed care, and repackaging products and services. The medical surgical business provides supplies and equipment to physicians' offices, home care agencies, and surgical centers. The specialty health business unit focuses on specific products and services for ailments that typically are not very common, are more expensive to treat, and require special processes to ensure quality control. McKesson's pharmacy technology business unit assists with software and expertise to pharmacies, health systems, and clinics of all sizes across many markets. Their Canada and Europe groups offer meds, supplies, and IT needs for many healthcare institutions. As you can see from the brief description of the different business units that McKesson has, short of actually manufacturing the drugs and supplies, they are engaged in just about every facet of the delivery and procurement of medications and medical supplies, and provide the technology needed to process payment for healthcare facilities and patients. Other services include asset management tools, behavioral coaching techniques, Front Edge, which is a front-end sales and marketing strategy program, and Notify RX, which is a messaging system for drug manufacturers to communicate with patients, just to name a few. McKesson is utilizing their technology and product services to help them continue to stay dominant as more competition, like Amazon, continue to enter the market. Chapter 11 discusses diversification strategies. McKesson's current diversification strategy is a limited corporate single business firm. Per the textbook, this means that 95% of their total sales are in a single industry. As you can see from the most recent 10K, 100% of the revenue that McKesson has earned was in the healthcare industry. They do segregate their businesses into 4 different entities, but all are in the same industry. The bulk of the revenue is generated by the U.S. and International Pharmaceutical Distribution and Services Unit, which they break out from one another. The other 2 business units are Medical Surgical and Technology Solutions. McKesson has acquired many companies over the years in order to obtain their capabilities and resources to further diversify within the healthcare industry. By continuing to expand the range of products and services offered in the healthcare arena, McKesson has become a bit of a one-stop shop in their sector. Chapter 12 speaks to implementing corporate diversification. McKesson's board of directors is currently comprised of 8 members. They do practice duality, as their CEO is also the chairman of the board. The textbook states that duality can be beneficial to a company if it operates in slow growth and simple competitive environments. The CEO is the only internal manager on the board. According to the textbook, having a board of directors that is primarily made of outsiders is better because they are more likely to focus on economic results rather than insiders who focus on other metrics as well. Equity investors are more concerned with economic performance, which is why outsiders are a better fit for the board members as their focuses are more aligned with investors. Outsiders are also going to be more likely to hold the CEO accountable and take the necessary steps to do so. Outsiders will also do what needs to be done to preserve their reputation for being effective monitors. The text also states that having some internal management on the board can be beneficial, as they will have insight about internal processes and decision-making activities. McKesson only has 1 insider on their board, but does have a very well-rounded group with different backgrounds and experience. Institutional Holding owns 89.18% of McKesson's stock, with 5 companies owning 36% of the institutional holdings. Large institutional investors can directly influence to ensure that their investments are secure by giving insight on decisions managers make through the board of directors. As you can see, there are 5 companies that are likely to have an abundance of input on what decisions are made at McKesson.
In assessing McKesson's framework, the company uses the most up-to-date technology, providing medications, pharmaceutical supplies, information, and care management products. This technology includes barcode technology, wrist-mounted computers in their distribution centers, and providing customers with real-time product availability of its inventory. The company consists of 2 segments, McKesson Distribution Solutions and McKesson Technology Solutions. The distribution channel provides prescription and over-the-counter medications, medical and surgical supplies, and health and beauty products to chain and independent pharmacies along with hospital systems. The distribution channel in the U.S. and Canada consists of 29 distribution centers in the United States and 17 in Canada. There is also a redistribution center and 2 repackaging facilities. McKesson provides its products to serve all 50 states, Puerto Rico, and all of Canada. In Canada, McKesson is responsible for distributing 100 million doses of medication and accounting for 1/3 of the distribution of pharmaceuticals in the United States. In addition to providing supplies to pharmacies and hospitals, McKesson also supplies physician offices, surgery centers, extended care facilities, and home and occupational care sites. The second portion of McKesson's corporation is its technology channel. This channel delivers a wide range of financial, operational, and clinical benefits to its customers. In 2016, McKesson named the corporation of its technology channel Change Healthcare. Its technology channel provides services to a wide range of providers that deliver health care. First, McKesson provides its pharmacy management system. This allows pharmacies to deliver its healthcare services using technology that provides services from inputting the prescription from the prescriber to the point of sale. The point of sale technology allows the pharmacy to complete the transaction of sale and also allows for mechanisms of charging which many independent pharmacies utilize. Within the last 10 years, retail pharmacies have begun the process of medication therapy management. This allows pharmacists to consult with patients regarding their prescription medications and, as a result of their services, to be compensated for those. As this industry began to change, McKesson saw the need to assist pharmacies with these services and has provided the technology necessary for pharmacists to capture charges for their services and bill these to third parties. McKesson not only provides technology to retail and independent pharmacies, but also provides services to mail-order pharmacies, allowing for technology related to shipping and call centers for its customers. McKesson also possesses the robotic technology for hospital systems to utilize through automated dispensing cabinets, which streamline the process for nursing staff and also capture charges for utilization by the billing office, which can in turn be processed to insurance and other payer sources. In addition to assisting hospitals with these aspects of their services, McKesson also provides the technology necessary for the 340B system. 340B is a federal program that was designed to assist critical access and disproportionate share hospitals in obtaining outpatient medications at a discounted rate. This is a very elaborate system that requires close inventory management and the replacement of dispensed medications. McKesson has provided these hospital systems with the necessary technology for compliance with federal regulations and the process needed for inventory management. McKesson also provides hospital systems with EMR technology, which allows nursing staff to deliver medications to their patients and administer these electronically, eliminating the need for paper records. McKesson also provides services to long-term care facilities that are similar to those of hospital systems, to include the EMR function. In continuing to assess McKesson's framework, we will discuss briefly the company's strengths and weaknesses. First, McKesson is a company that has been in the healthcare industry for over 175 years and has the necessary capital needed to compete in this industry. In focusing on the United States, McKesson does distribute nearly 1/3 of the pharmaceuticals nationwide in comparison with those of its competitors. McKesson has large accounts to include Walmart and the Department of Veterans Affairs. Companies such as these require a large demand on the pharmaceutical supply chain, and McKesson has positioned itself in the market to be able to deliver the necessary supply to these large vendors. By vendors such as these selecting McKesson as their pharmaceutical vendor, this shows the firm possesses the technology required for distribution of their products while also operating at a slim margin. In this distribution channel, pharmacies receive medication orders daily and some on Saturdays. This requires McKesson to acquire the appropriate inventory to meet the demands of its vendors. With this distribution channel, it goes without saying that McKesson is one of the most technologically advanced and provides the most services in the industry. Along with the strengths of a firm comes its weaknesses. Through the research of this firm, many have said that McKesson possesses some of the best technology in the industry. However, the one thing that is lacking is a grouping mechanism to tie these systems together. Also, with McKesson's vision of providing products for an ever-evolving system, McKesson has petitioned for many different patents for its technology, which ties up the firm with pending litigation processes. This process is very expensive and requires a tremendous amount of capital to finance. And another weakness of the firm is that its vast size does prevent it from adapting to change. In this slide, McKesson's cost leadership strategy will be discussed. As of now, the largest expense to hospital systems is its labor cost. In a recent Hospitals and Health Networks article, it was stated that by the year 2020, the largest cost will shift to supply chain and its management. Currently, physicians will use a variety of products that will produce the same outcome. McKesson is positioning itself to assist these providers by offering management tools and resources that allow these providers to perform the same procedures in the most cost-efficient manner. Secondly, McKesson is collaborating with these hospital systems and providers to maintain the highest quality and performance standards in the coordination of care. This tool provides the analytics necessary to identify best practices in terms of quality and cost. This will allow organizations to design care plans for patients to deliver the most efficient care. With the complex task of reimbursement, McKesson is providing the tools needed at the beginning of care to verify eligibility and payment responsibility, and is working to assist hospitals to reduce denials and collection efforts. In many cases, the McKesson software allows for automation of these processes to increase efficiency in the billing and invoicing practices. Overall, McKesson is providing the clinical and financial tools to these institutions so they have the ability to focus on the efficiency of quickly changing payer sources. As hospitals invest in a single integrated system, this one-stop technology eliminates the need for expensive interface systems that require extensive maintenance. With the integration of electronic medical records, many hospital systems have already realized a cost efficiency in transitioning to these integrated systems, such as those provided by McKesson. This allows for a single source of healthcare information to be implemented, and now patients even have the ability to access their healthcare online through the system portal. With the help of McKesson and its healthcare IT solutions, the firm is assisting hospitals to streamline workflow and reduce costs. In order to maintain the competitive advantage in this evolving environment, McKesson must continue with its vision of providing these systems with the most state-of-the-art technology. To set itself apart from the competition, McKesson provides technology for hospital, lab, and pharmacy systems that surpass others. The firm offers the software support for both of these vital programs within a hospital system, and also provides the necessary technology to support the billing of lab diagnostics and medication dispensing. McKesson also has the ability to ship directly to patient homes for those who may be receiving home health services. This eliminates the need for the patient to travel to the physician office or the hospital system in order to receive health care. In many cases, these processes may take several business days in order to complete. However, McKesson has the software necessary to acquire the appropriate order for products and ship these directly to the receiving source with the next business day service. In many cases, this is vital for continuity of care and may even eliminate the need for hospitalizations. McKesson also possesses 3 different technologies which streamline other processes for providers. The first is its online controlled substance ordering process for pharmacies. In previous years, this process could only be completed via a DEA 222 form, and the process often took 3 to 4 business days. With McKesson's Seago software, pharmacies can now receive these medications with next business day service. With payment of service now being tied directly to quality of care, McKesson has assisted hospital systems with its McKesson Quality One product, which analyzes data for quality and allows hospitals to recognize areas of improvement so they can maximize their reimbursement from third-party sources. And lastly, with the healthcare being a very highly regulated industry, McKesson offers its customers the product MedTrainer, which gives participating institutions access to best practices and policies and procedures. With the most up-to-date access to these manuals, this positions hospitals to always be prepared for health department inspections and visits by regulatory bodies such as the Joint Commission. In Chapter 8, the concept of flexibility is discussed and how corporations are positioned in this regard. The different types of flexibility include the options to defer, grow, contract, shut down and restart, abandon, or to expand. With McKesson being a market leader in the healthcare distribution and technology industry, it goes without saying that the company has positioned itself for the flexibility option of expansion. In evaluating McKesson's bottom line over the last few years, each year the company realizes the most growth through its distribution channel. This comes through the acquisition of new customers and the increase of services for its existing customers. One strategy the firm has implemented starting in 2016 was the capital return strategy of stock buybacks. The firm has completed this process through its fiscal 2016 and 2017 years to ensure investors of its stability and its ability of capital acquisitions. Most recently, McKesson has begun the process of specialty pharmacy expansion. This avenue encompasses the distribution of medications to include specialized disease states, for example, those in oncology. In many cases, these drugs are simply too costly for hospitals to administer and pharmacies to hold as inventory, and McKesson has realized the need for expansion in this area. In some cases, these medications may offer wide profit margins, and McKesson has realized an area of growth for the company and continues to invest capital in this area to provide access to these medications for the patients that it serves.
I'm James Painter, and I'm going to talk about strategic alliances, how Amazon and its newly formed alliance could enter the pharmaceutical industry, and what this means for McKesson. Strategic alliances exist whenever two or more independent organizations cooperate in the development, manufacture, or sale of products or services. McKesson has multiple examples of when they have engaged in strategic alliances, including back in 2004, when they went into a joint market with NDC Health's primary pharmacy using McKesson's OmniLink pre- and post-editing business to process pharmacy claims. This led to the two leaders in pharmacy analytic services increased networks to thousands of independently owned pharmacies. Another example is McKesson and Parata Systems Alliance, in which Parata Systems purchased McKesson's automated prescription systems business, making McKesson the sole third-party distributor for all Parata products. This alliance is an example of McKesson's newest business segment, Provider Technologies, which is their new software information technology and consulting branch that is bringing in substantial profit margins. Their goal is to broaden their network and area of influence by providing their pharmaceutical expertise to clinics and pharmacies for optimized cash flows and profitability. Amazon is also making strategic alliances that will enable them to compete in the healthcare industry. They have teamed up with Berkshire Hathaway and JP Morgan, aiming to provide care to staff at a reasonable cost. These three companies are among the highest employee corporations in the country. The announcement was jarring enough to the healthcare and pharmaceutical company investors that drug suppliers lost over $40 billion in market value over the past year. Over that same period, Amazon experienced an increase in market capitalization by more than double. The fear from investors is the distribution efficiency that Amazon brings to the table. McKesson is a distributor with most of its power coming from their ability to buy in bulk at lower prices from manufacturers and then using their own supply chain. This creates savings as McKesson can charge higher prices to pharmaceutical companies in the form of a fee for service. Pharmaceutical companies are happy because they pay a minimal amount without having to worry about distribution. What this new triad of Amazon, Berkshire Hathaway, and JP Morgan have at their disposal to disrupt the industry is purchasing power. Through their combined 1 million plus staff, as well as their large capital and influence to purchase drugs from manufacturers, they can demand lower prices by buying bulk and using their employees as a massive test bed. What makes them very powerful, though, is their intent to make the healthcare for their employees free from profit-making incentives. The companies that bank their entire operation on the distribution of drugs are aiming to make a profit at the cost of American people over life-saving drugs and equipment. Corporations that already have a means to generate profit, with the size and knowledge to run this type of operation, essentially act as a non-profit, which means those savings could be passed down to the customer and reduce healthcare costs. They could even pay more money than leading distributors like McKesson and still charge less for their products, bringing true market competition on a very large scale. They would, in effect, be able to pass on the savings directly to their employees at no additional cost. There are 8 sources of inter-firm economies of scope for a strategic alliance. They include exploiting economies of scale, learning from competitors, managing risk and sharing costs, facilitating tacit collusion, low-cost entry into new markets, low-cost entry into new industries and new industry segments, low-cost exit from industry segments, and managing uncertainty. The first source, exploiting economies of scale, is readily apparent with the 3 companies in the triad being among the largest employers. JP Morgan with 250,000, Berkshire Hathaway with 370,000, and Amazon with 360,000 people. As far as size, they ranked as 21st, 2nd, and 12th on Forbes' Fortune 500 companies. With this degree of size and capital at their disposal, they can achieve market competitiveness with the big pharmaceutical companies with which they will compete. The second source, learning from competitors, falls right in Amazon's wheelhouse. McKesson is the largest distributor being labeled as the most efficient in their supply chain model. Amazon has likewise earned that title in the retail industry. Amazon already has processes in place to incorporate distribution channels for the third-party retailers on their website. Adding pharmaceutical products to their supply chain would not take much of a learning curve. The third source, managing risk and sharing costs, is going to be much more practical given the size and capability of the firms involved in the alliance. Having a powerhouse in distribution, being Amazon, an investment, being Berkshire Hathaway, and banking, being JP Morgan, makes for a significantly lower cost and risk of investment into the new industry, reducing costs for each company that must share in their cooperative approach. The fourth source, tacit collusion, will be much simpler to enact as these companies operate in vastly different industries and do not directly compete with each other naturally. Sharing the benefits will be just as viable as sharing the costs. The fifth source, low cost into new markets, is possible because of the heavy infrastructure built up from Amazon. They would be adding another channel supply chain to their already massive channels of distribution. There could be some additional costs, with increasing the number of warehouses and holding costs, but they are already competent in those areas, so it is unlikely that they will find a barrier to entry into pharmaceutical products. The sixth source, low-cost entry into new industries and new industry segments, might prove more difficult since there are some barriers into the pharmaceutical industry segment. Since pharmaceutical products are so highly regulated, it is likely that Amazon will need to revamp their transportation and handling methods, as well as some legal implications must be handled before entry. These costs are already part of the industry, and with the financial backing of these 3 companies, should not be a roadblock for the triad entering this new industry segment. The seventh source, low-cost exit from industries or industry segments, is not an issue for Amazon, as they could shift out if they desire to do so. But ultimately, their aim is not about achieving an expected level of return, but passing on savings to their customers. Since their motivation for entering the industry is not profit-driven, they will not find the cost of exiting the pharmacy industry as a barrier, nor will they likely want to. The eighth and final source, managing uncertainty, is much like the previous source in this scenario, as their goals are not about expected cash flows so much as they are about reducing costs to their customers. They will not be deterred from entry due to a lack of profits or to a forecast for low return on investment. With 2 of the company's founders and CEOs being self-made billionaires and among the richest men on the planet, their movement into an industry should spell trouble for incumbent industries such as McKesson. Industry players are nervous about Amazon driving down the profitability. McKesson speculates that companies such as ZocDoc and GoodRx would be threatened as Amazon would take their place as an online healthcare shopping field, which would help consumers navigate their healthcare. They also believe that Amazon would develop their own healthcare supply chain through pharmaceutical company partnerships, which would then help them get into other areas of healthcare.